And coming up next to greet you and I is our popular segment called Who is Who? That's Who's Who. This is founded and telecasted here by Mr. Sonny Siegel, who's the CIO of Montgomery County in the state of Maryland. Each month we get to meet the hot off the press personalities on Mr. Siegel's segment. Today he has invited a sharp and a rather young businessman of the DC metro area. His name is Mr. Manish Singh. Let's meet him eye to eye and discover his rise in the world of business.
Welcome to the Who's Who show. This is your host Sonny Siegel. Today our guest is Mr. Manish Singh. He's a highly successful businessman in the Washington DC area, doing business in several states. Let's find out what makes Manish so successful at such a young age. Before I request Manish to introduce the kinds of business he is in, let me just give you a hint. If you recently had pizza or a smoothie, chances are it was from one of his stores. With that, Manish, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Siegel, for having me here today. It's an honor to be here on your show.
Thank you for making the time. Can you please then answer the question I was going to pose originally, like what types of business are you in?
Definitely. Our primary business line is the restaurant industry, and specifically in that, the quick service restaurants. We have 30 franchises of Papa John's Pizza all over the East Coast, including Dallas, Texas. And we also have 3 tropical smoothie cafes, another quick service franchise. We have begun a real estate investment and property management business as well. So those are the primary businesses we're in currently.
Yeah, it's quite diversified in a sense. You know, in other words, you have foods and then you have real estate. Yeah, but see, that's just the kind of thing we want to learn. So is this a business or businesses? Are these businesses you started?
These businesses originally were started by my father. In 2002, he opened the first Papa John's. But he's always had a knack of trying to involve his family, and especially his kids. Like any father would want his kids to eventually take over the business. He always would give us work, even while I was in high school. That's when he started the business. Or when I was in college, he'd send me stuff to do. And then when I came back from college, from the William & Mary, and I worked 1.5 years as a consulting firm, but whenever I'd come back home, I'd be working on the business. On the weekends, I'd be working on the business. So my interest, kept growing at that time. And, after about 1 year of consulting, my dad's health, father's health deteriorated, and the doctor told him to focus more on his health. And that's when I, decided, hey, I'm already part of the business. Let me step down from my position as a consultant and focus on the business full time, give my dad some time to, recover his health. So in 2010, I resigned from my position and I started working the family business full time. For 1 year, my dad guided me. He taught me everything in the business, from accounting, payroll, operations, HR, legal, every aspect of the business I learned over the course of the year. The following year, he started giving less time to the business, only about 25% of the time he used to give. And then the following year, he completely, let me kind of take over the business and run it along with my brother and my cousin. So it is a family business, and we're doing well since he has even left. He continues to guide us though, and we have taken over that business. In the meantime, I did open the tropical smoothie cafes with my one of my best friends from college. We opened the tropical smoothie business in 2012 at the same time, so we've grown in that as well.
Oh, it's very good to know. And whereas I'm going to say something as a parent, whereas parents, your father, in this case your mother, they started the business and then they entrusted you with it, and you willingly, you were willing to take on that responsibility, and of course now you're able to find ways to execute your own vision. That's my impression, from what you said.
That's correct.
So how do the styles differ? The styles, that management styles, right? As your parents or your father may have had versus how you approached the business altogether.
As far as the management styles, I believe I learned a lot from my father. So I'd say 50% of the style that I manage in, or the way I manage people, or my vision for the business comes from him. He has been a very passionate person for the business throughout his life. I learned, passion from him. He has always been very involved when he was involved, almost to the extent of micromanaging people.
I see.
And then the other 50% I learned from my college education, my time as a consultant, and from training through Papa John's corporate and Tropical Smoothie as well. I learned more about planning and having a business plan for the year, setting goals, people planning, meaning hiring the right people, teaching them how to do their job properly, and following up with them to see if they are doing their job properly. So I am passionate, I am involved, I am hardworking just like him, but I manage people a little bit differently. I plan out things a little bit differently, I would say. He's very, he comes off as strict to some of the employees, but that's just his passion speaking. For me, I'm more of someone that people can be comfortable around, and that's what I want. My employees to be able to come and speak to me about any issue.
Wow.
And so our management styles are differing in that portion too.
Very interesting. Yes, indeed. And so, is the business very demanding? Long hours. You have to be physically present at 2 or 3 places at one time.
I believe any business is demanding, and the restaurant industry is demanding in a different way, I would say. It's demanding in the sense that when people are off, when your friends are off from work, or when they're enjoying their weekend, or when they're celebrating the Super Bowl, or when they're having their parties on Friday and Saturday night, you're the busiest. In the restaurant industry, you're the busiest. Friday, Saturday, Super Bowl, any big major event, you're busy. So I think it's demanding in the fact that you cannot spend the time that you need to with your friends. But just as any business, you have to work hard. You have to do multiple tasks. So I would say it's not any different in that sense, but only difference is when you have to spend that time.
Oh, I see. Yes. Yeah. And so, couple of quick thoughts. In other words, you mentioned corporate, the ones that you are dealing with at the corporate level, and they have strong programs. You're saying, yeah, they're all strong partners and mentors, and of course, probably when thinking of passion, in this business, it's customer service. I mean, you want the customer to be satisfied, even though you're having to forego the Super Bowl, right?
Right.
But that's what makes their fun, right? Is when you're there, or when your company is there. Yeah, I get the point. Yes, and so is it true that people are eating out more, or ordering in more?
I would say definitely ordering
last
in more.
Few years.
Yeah, definitely ordering in more. Our delivery, we're Papa John's is a delivery business, so our delivery portion has picked up more than our carry-out portion as well. Our store sales, store sales have grown, 16%, 12%, 10% year over year after year, especially in the last 4 years. I've seen a huge increase. And on the smoothie side, we've grown 40%, 25%, 35%. So the trend might be a healthier line too, because we're growing more in that area, but we're still growing the other parts of the business too. So people are, to answer your question, people looks like are eating out more if you just look at our business itself.
And that's not just seasonally, it is throughout the year. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's very interesting. And then do you ultimately recommend that people own businesses like these?
Recommend. I love it. Honestly, I enjoy this. It's a passion of mine. I enjoy the work because you get rewarded for it too. So owning a business, you do put in a lot more work. You do have less time, but you do also have the flexibility if you grow your business and have the people to work it. You can take a week off. You can take any day off you want. You're not forced to work at 9 to 5 every day. If you have a daily job, you don't have to go to work. But as a business owner, you choose to go to work because that in the end it rewards you at the end of the month or end of the year. So I definitely recommend people go into their own business, whether it's the restaurant business. You got to decide if a person has to decide for themselves what business is right. They have to be passionate about it in order to be successful too.
So how about capital? Does it require a lot of capital, a lot of experience to even to start thinking about getting into business?
Definitely, capital is a requirement, but there's a lot of banks lending, a lot of finance companies lending. You can have private lending through friends and family as well. So there is money out there if you don't have it, if you want to go into business still. And as far as experience, I'd say experience is definitely required as well. It's going to make you more successful.
So what does one have to actually work in one of the outlets or restaurants to get to learn the skills and to gain the experience to be able to own them?
That's a different recommendation from my side.
That is one way to.
Yeah, I mean that is the best way to do it. Because restaurant, like any business, can fail. So you want to make sure before you get in, you know what you're getting yourself into. If this is right for you, and learn the ins and outs of the business to make sure you are successful. You are making money. In business, success is making money, and if you're not making money, you're not going to be successful because your business won't be able to continue to support itself. So most important is to be able to make money in the business, and then also be able to grow it. So
So it's important to be very close to it initially, at least, right?
Definitely.
And so is automation helping at all with the the large volume, or is it hand prepared? Pretty much the way it has been.
Automation is not helping in the hand, like preparing by hand, but it is definitely helping expedite things or increase the efficiency. So our pizza ovens used to cook in 8 minutes, now they cook in 4.5 minutes.
Wow.
So now we can do double the volume in that oven, but we still make the pizza by hand. We still do everything by hand, but I think the equipment and the technology is changing. The fact that it's speeding up the process.
And also, does it give you some kind of predictive analysis which says, now this is the time of year or this is the weather when the demand will be high, so you schedule more, something like that?
Yeah, in a franchise system, that's the benefit.
Yeah.
You have technology, they're doing the research for you. So in Papa John's and Tropical Smoothie, we have data from 5 years, 7 years back, and then we have forecasting tools. That's how we do our scheduling. That's how we do our planning for the month. How many drivers are we going to need? How many insiders? How many employees are we going to need? We do it based on a tool that these franchises provide us, making our jobs much easier. If I was to do it as an independent business owner, not a franchise, then I'd have to create that tool, or I'd have to have some sort of system. So it's definitely a huge benefit of a franchise.
And so how important are people? Just very briefly now, automation on the one hand, but people that make up your organization, how important?
People are, I'd say 50% of the piece. There's half of your business basically, and these are people that you entrust with your business. If you have multiple stores, these are the people that will make you successful or break you if you don't watch them or if you don't train them properly.
Right.
So people are definitely key to the business.
Okay, yeah, that's another very, very key thing for us to take away from your experience, you know, that people
Yep.
make the business go. I'm aware that you and your family are giving back to the community.
Mhm.
You know, I'm aware that there are many civic events where you are kind enough, you know, to give back, and donations that you make to food banks and such. So that's commendable.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr.
And I want to thank you for coming on the show today. I wish you continued success, you know.
Thank you,
And-
sir.
And I do hope to walk into one of your stores one of these days, or call, you know, and get some excellent
Definitely,
service.
you're welcome anytime.
All the very
Thank you,
best.
Mr. Sehgal.
Thank you. This is your host, Sonny Siegel, signing off on the Who's Who show on the Capitol Forum. I hope to see you again next month at the same place and same time.